Hi, my name is Michael Allen. I'm a fabricator at Total Chaos Fabrication, and today I'm going to be showing you how to install 05 Tacoma upper control arm. It's part number 96504, and it looks like this. First, we're going to start with our tools. We will need a 3/8 end wrench, a 10 millimeter end wrench, a 9/16 end wrench, 14 millimeter end wrench, 17 millimeter end wrench, 19 millimeter end wrench, another 19 millimeter end wrench, or you can also use a 3/4, and a 7/8 end wrench. You also need a 3/8 drive ratchet, 10 millimeter socket, 14 millimeter socket, 9/16 socket, 13/16 socket, and a standard 3-inch extension. You will need a dead blow hammer or rubber mallet, standard ball peen hammer, lineman dikes. This tool we use to get the mud flaps out. You can also use a screwdriver, a 21 millimeter socket, and the 1/2-inch drive ratchet to go along with it, a large pair of channel locks which we will use to move the fender well out of the way to remove the upper control arm bolt, and a bungee cord to hold the spindle away from putting too much tension on the brake line. Our first step is going to be assembling the upper control arm. Once you get it from Total Chaos, this is what you will have: the bushings, the inner sleeves, the end washers, the Zerk fittings, and the upper control arm, with the uniball and misalignments already installed. First, we are going to start by installing the bushings into the control arm. A common mistake people make is by lubricating the outsides of the bushing when putting them into the control arm. You don't want to do that because you do not want the bushing to pivot in the control arm. So first, you should be able to press them in by hand. Next step, you're going to use some kind of grease. We use Super Lube. You're going to grease the insides of the bushings, then take the inner sleeves and install them into the bushings using a dead blow hammer. The next step is going to be to take your 2 Zerk fittings with a 3/8 wrench and install them into the holes of the pivots. Also note that these Zerk fittings do not have to be bottomed out to the pivot because it is a pipe thread. Just make sure that they are snug and the threads will seal completely. Also make sure that both Zerk fittings are pointing out towards the uniball to make an ease of greasing. Don't think you have to take your bumper off to install upper control arms. We're currently working on a bumper project for this vehicle. So your first step is going to be lifting the truck off the ground using a jack and jack stands, or in our case, luckily we have a lift, so that's going to be our first step. Once the wheel's off the ground and the vehicle is secure, you're going to remove the front wheels. After the wheel is removed, your first step is going to be to release the wire from the metal clamp. Using the lineman dikes, you just bend it over and it becomes free. The same on this upper one. Using a 17 millimeter end wrench, I will loosen the sway bar link through the spindle hole and remove the sway bar link from the spindle. Once the sway bar links have been removed from both sides of the vehicle, you will loosen the sway bar mount to the frame with a 14 millimeter socket. Once the rear bolt is removed and the front bolt is loosened, the sway bar can slide out of the slot for the bolt and be moved out of the way. Using the lineman dikes, you will remove the factory cotter pin, and using a 19 millimeter end wrench, you will loosen the upper ball joint nut. Being sure not to remove the castle nut off of the ball joint completely, you will need to separate the upper control arm from the spindle. You will use the ball peen hammer to strike the spindle and shock the joint into being removed. Once the joint is separated, you will remove the castle nut and separate the upper control arm from the spindle. Next, I will remove the wheel well apron using our special tool, or you can use a flat tip screwdriver. Using a bungee cord or tie down, I will secure the spindle to the frame so as to not have tension on the brake line or the ABS wire. Next, I will use a 19mm end wrench to loosen the upper control arm through bolt and remove the nut and washer. Once you open the hood, underneath the battery tray, you will find a 10mm bolt holding on a main wire loom. You will need to remove the 10mm bolt and move the wire loom out of the way. You will also need to remove the front wheel well apron. Once the apron is removed, you will see the backs of two ABS fasteners. You will need to push them out from the inner fender well. Once the ABS fasteners have been removed, you will notice that the bolt cannot be removed due to contact with the fender well. You will need to use your large channel locks to move the fender well out of the way so that the bolt can be removed. Be sure when you're doing this, you do not grab the ABS wire loom. Your next step will be to remove the upper control arm cross bolt. Once the bolt is removed, you will remove the upper control arm from the vehicle. Using a 14mm end wrench, you will remove the 3 upper shock nuts from the coil bucket. Using a 19mm end wrench, you will loosen the lower shock bolt. And remove it from the lower shock mount. Once all the shock bolts are removed, you will remove the shock from the vehicle. Before installing the coilover, it's a good idea to put the upper shock bolts on the frame for easy access when you have the shock maneuvered in there. The first product you will install is the new coilover. For this, we're using a Fox 2.5 remote reservoir. You're going to want to weave the lower mount down through. You'll move the spindle forward, which will allow the lower of the shock to slide in and let the upper go into the bucket. You will use the supplied 3/8 hardware into the upper shock circle. The lower rod end on the Fox 2.5 coilover has 2 different length misalignment spacers. Be sure when you install them, you put the longer spacer in the front of the shock and the shorter spacer in the rear, as to move the bottom of the shock farther away from the sway bar. Now we're inserting the front lower rod end misalignment spacer. Once the misalignment spacers are in, you will need to put pressure on the lower control arm so the lower shock mount can slide into the slot. Once the holes are lined up, you will insert the lower shock bolt into the shock mount. Using a 9/16 end wrench, you will tighten the upper 3 shock bolts. Using 2 19mm end wrenches, or 1 19mm and 1 3/4, you will tighten the lower shock bolt. For the next step, you will need the new upper control arm, the stock through bolt, and one of the plated end washers. You will insert the bolt partially through the front pivot with the plated end washer on the outside, and then weave the bolt and control arm up into the vehicle. You will then take another plated end washer and sandwich it between the bushing and the boss of the coil bucket. You will feed the bolt through the coil bucket. You will then take a third plated end washer and sandwich it between the rear part of the upper shock mount and the bushing. You will then take the last plated end washer, place it on the outside of the pivot, and then reinstall the factory nut. Using two 19mm wrenches, or one 19mm and one 3/4, you will tighten the factory through bolt. Using your lineman dikes, you will cut the zip tie that holds the misalignments into the uniball. Install the bolt through both misalignments and then insert the tapered adapter onto the bolt. Then you will insert the bolt into the spindle. Next, you will install the 9/16 C-lock nut and 9/16 SAE washer onto the through bolt. Using a 13/16 socket and a 7/8 end wrench, you will tighten the through bolt through the uniball. Now that the spindle is secure to the vehicle, you can remove the bungee cord or tie down. Next, you will use Fox's sway bar relocation bracket and reservoir mount. You will sandwich the reservoir mount in between the sway bar relocation bracket and the frame.
Do a solid actually. He's like, no, I just really want this one.
All right. Next, install the supplied 3/8 bolt into the front of the sway bar relocation bracket. Then take your sway bar bracket, put it back over the rubber mount, and slide it into the front bolt. Next, you will install the rear 3/8 bolt. Next, you will take the sway bar end link and reinsert it through the spindle and install the nut. Retighten the nut using a 17mm end wrench. Using the supplied hose clamps, install the reservoir to the reservoir bracket. Tighten the hose clamp using a flat tip screwdriver. Using the supplied zip tie, secure the ABS wire to the ABS tab on the upper control arm. Once the suspension system is installed, go back through and double check that all hardware is secure. Another tip is to double check your suspension bolts and all the hardware after about 100 miles. Once everything is installed, reinstall the wheel well apron. Before reinstalling the wheels, using a grease gun, pump grease into the Zerk fittings so it will lubricate the pivot. Be sure to not over-grease the Zerk fitting, making sure the bushings do not bulge out. That concludes the install of the Total Chaos Fabrication upper control arm on an 05 Tacoma. Now put your wheel on and go have fun.